Hi and welcome to your Relationship Roadmap. My name's Keith Flynn and I'm just doing a quick series on the 5 top challenges people are having in making changes in their relationship. So in the first one we covered with how we deal with the past, that being one of the big challenges. In the second one it's about taking responsibility for your own feelings and your own actions. And in the third one we talked about how a busy lifestyle can impact your life and creating space for you actually to implement some of the changes. Now in this fourth one, we're going to cover the challenge of understanding your partner. Now in this fourth one, we're going to cover the challenge of understanding your partner. So I'm here with Mr. Michael Worthington.
How are you, Keith?
I'm good, Michael.
Understanding your partner. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there going, no, I understand them perfectly, that's part of the problem. But you're talking about understanding from a totally different perspective as someone who is wanting and willing to change their relationship for the better.
Yeah. So a lot of conflict comes in relationships when we make assumptions.
Okay.
Now, this is really old for some people.
Yeah.
But what does assume mean?
As out of you and me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the longer you're in a relationship, the more you're likely to think you know your partner. You've been with this person for 10, 15, 20. How long have you been with Kathy?
We've been together for 30 years.
Right. You've been together 30 years.
Got married after 3 months of meeting each other. Yeah. Proposed after 6 weeks.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I knew her so well. Yeah.
So you got to know each other over 30 years.
Mm.
Now,
Yes.
because you're living together, we start to make the assumption that we really know the other person.
Mhm.
Here's the danger. You might be able to predict with 100% accuracy, let's say, 70% of the time.
No. But no, I understand where you're going.
Let's say 70% of the time.
Yeah.
The danger is you think you know that other 30%.
Mm.
So when we've been together with someone so long and we think we know them, and then we assume that we know them in all situations,
Mm.
you can get to an argument where something happens, and because you believe that you know that person 100%, and they go, no, and you go, yes you are, no you're not, yes you are, and you get people telling them what they're thinking or feeling or doing, because in your mind, or in the person's mind,
Yeah.
they have got this picture that they believe that they fully understand the other person.
I'm going to agree with you on that one. From somebody I know. Might know them intimately. Yeah, no, it is a really easy trap to fall into. And I must admit, being married, Kathy still surprises me sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I go, what? Hey? Yeah, it even catches me out, even without me interrupting and just observing and going, wow. Yeah, so it does throw me off sometimes and going, I would not have expected that. Yeah, in certain circumstances. So I can fully relate to that one. Mm.
So the position I come from is please never assume you know your partner. If you think you know them, just check in. I'm thinking you might be feeling this way. Check in. I think you might be thinking this way. Check in.
Yeah.
And ask them. Because it will give you more information, give you better understanding. Also build a connection because you're taking an interest in the other person and not taking things for granted.
And I'll just speak from personal experience, but it seems to me that this particular one is a very easy trap to fall into or slide into over years.
Yeah, the longer you're in a relationship, the more, remember we talked about homeostasis, the more we assume things are not going to change. If we go with neuroplasticity, you know, the brain can always change, but if we continue to fire the same neurons, we're going to create the same pathways, the same thinking pathways, they're going to be more rigid. So the difference I have in working with people in their early 20s and 30s are so much easier to work with than people in their 60s and 70s.
They're just not as
Flexible.
concrete. Yeah.
I'm going to have to find a YouTube video clip. There's some engineer who decided to re-engineer a bike.
Okay.
I might have talked about this one another time. And so what he did was he put a reverse cog or reverse cogs under the handlebar. So normally when you turn the handlebars this way, you'll go this way. But when you turn the handlebars this way, you actually go that way.
Oh, nasty. Yes.
And in this video clip, they actually had it up on stage, and they offered $100 for anyone who could ride it like 10 meters.
Right. Okay.
And people couldn't without falling off. Because we've been wired and we're used to leaning and turning a bike one way.
Mm.
So when we have to do it the other way, it's completely foreign to us. Now, I think one person it took him 3 weeks to master it. Like he was in his 30s, 40s, something like that.
Right.
His son, who was only like 8, it took him a couple of days.
Yeah.
So effectively, the younger we are, generally, the more neuroplastic we are, the more we are able to adapt to change.
When you're talking about this change and you're talking about understanding your partner, is this why sometimes people, they feel like they've just suddenly woken up and gone, I've never, you're like living with a stranger. They've suddenly, because they've had all these assumptions instead of checking in, as you said, they've gone with their own narrow focus or lived in their own world. And the other person, as you said, they've come from their 20s and grown up. All of a sudden they look at them and go, you're not the person I thought you were. These are some of the phrases you hear. I'm sure you hear them.
Exactly. Yeah. And one of the things I'll say to people, I'll say, would you agree you're not the same people you were at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40?
Yeah.
You're not the same people before you had children as after you've had children.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and if you think about, like, say, some normal families where you get together, then you have children. And typically, when you have children, life is full on with children.
Yeah.
You're working, you've got the children, very little time for the relationship, and you're sort of going on, and then suddenly the children start to leave home, and like there's this big gap where you can lose sight of where the other person is at. Now, there's also another model that I use where, if you like, people are of different personality types. I call it head and heart.
Right, okay.
And often,
Yes.
a natural pairing in a relationship is someone being more heart-centered, someone being more head-centered. These are complementary opposites.
Yes.
The only issue we have is that the heart-centered person typically wants their partner to be more feely and expressive. The head-centered person wants them to be more logical and understanding.
Yeah.
And so you get people seeing other people through the filter of their own experiences.
Yeah.
So they don't take time to really understand what the other person's world's like. Now, I don't know about you, Michael, but I certainly have not experienced what it's like to be in a woman's body.
No.
So whenever people say, I understand to a woman, she's probably thinking, no way.
Exactly.
That was a polite version.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So one of the things I'll say is that the daily work in a relationship is to understand self, check in with self, and understand your partner. To actually keep up to date with what's going on inside their world.
So it's a case of really becoming more appreciative of how they see the world, which will then give you, if not complete understanding, will give you at least empathy and recognition of what's going on.
It'll give you the ability, if you like, to put yourself aside and say, I'm curious what's going on in your world. What's happening with you that has you feeling this way?
When people come to you, Keith, and the relationship is drifting, they're going, look, how help us get back together. We're both willing and able to do this, or both willing and wanting to do this. And you start recognizing these patterns that part of the drift has been caused because they have lost their understanding of each other. How do you start to meld that back in again in practical terms of you would say, okay, that's something I could do?
This is why, like if you go to my personal website, this is why there's a short video there where I say I believe in educating, upskilling and supporting people.
Yeah.
This is why I created the relationship roadmap. It's to give a framework that people can start to understand relationships simply. So that they can be on the same page, so they can start to work together. I've had a lot of cases where there's been something happen, look, it might be an affair or something like that, and let's say he's had the affair, she's still upset, and his attitude is, well, we talked about it, I'm over it, get over it.
Right.
But she's not, because he doesn't understand the impact that that's had on her. So part of that framework is really to slow, if you like, slow down the communication so we really understand what's going on in the other person's world. To actually hear and really appreciate what they've experienced. And then move forward.
Right.
One of the things that I'll always stress to couples is that out in the workforce, out in the business world, there are always problems to fix.
Yep.
Default mode in a relationship is there's nothing to fix.
Okay.
The first point is to listen and understand your partner. If they make a request to do something, then do it, or not do it, whatever they request. It's only then is there something to do. I'll give you an example. So here in Perth, WA, we have a lot of people who do fly in, fly out. So one of my clients messages up her husband and says, I've got a really bad headache and I'm feeling miserable. What do you think his response was?
Panadol's in the second drawer.
Yeah, have you taken 2 Panadol?
Yeah. And get
What do you think her response was?
You're not hearing me. You don't care.
I know how to take Panadol.
Yeah.
Have you tried? Then he responds, have you tried?
Yeah.
Right. So he's trying to fix it. What's she wanting?
She just wants someone to listen to her.
Yeah, she just wants her husband, she just wants a sympathetic ear. She wants just to be heard.
Yeah.
She doesn't want...
I've got to throw something in here.
Oh, God.
Is that more of a male trait than a female trait? That soon someone comes, it is in the business world, I know this for a fact, that someone will come, males are, right, do this, this and this and send them on their way. But if you've got a female boss and you go in, sit down and explain to her, and they want to know, so what's your opinion on this? How do you feel about that? What are some of the steps you would like to have a look at? They're more inquisitive and more trying to draw it out of you, so you go away and go, oh, I'm now part of the solution. Where males, in my experience, are more like that. Well, take 2 Panadol, get a warm towel or a cold flannel, put it on your forehead, lie in bed, turn the lights out, you'll be fine.
Let's put this in context. Again, it's not a gender thing.
Right.
In our current, in society, it is generally mostly women that are relationship sensitive.
Right, okay.
So, when there's a problem with the relationship, the woman wants it fixed immediately.
Right. And men don't think it's broken?
Correct. Like they'll say, like a woman, like they've had an argument or something, we need to talk about it. The man can be over it.
Yeah.
Right? The woman wants to fix it immediately. So it's not just a male or female thing. It'll be related to the context.
Yes. Yep.
Often men or head-centered people will try and fix everything as they're being presented with it, and they get overwhelmed.
Okay.
Often, when people get the opportunity to express, they've got a whole lot of a filing cabinet full of stuff that they need to express, so they bring out everything because they've got this window of opportunity. So one of the things I have to say to couples is focus on one thing at a time, one thing from one person.
Yeah.
Because it's real easy within a couple of minutes to escalate it to being a handful of things and unresolvable.
I have seen that myself, that someone will start talking about this, and that's the thing, I suppose, I'm fairly business oriented, so I like to focus on singular things.
Yeah.
I like to go, that's a singular, let's look at that. And then what frustrates me is when someone says, yes, but it's like, and I'm going, it may be like, but it's still irrelevant, don't bring it in. You want to talk about that later, let's just focus on this. Yeah, so I can certainly relate to that. But I guess I'm very head-centered, so when people start bringing emotional stuff in, I'm the, where are we going with this? Come on, let's get some practical stuff down here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, as I say, default in relationships, nothing to fix.
Right.
So you just want to learn to listen. As I mentioned, the other number one skill, learn to listen with your heart.
Yes. Wow.
It's learning to understand what's in each other's worlds and be able to step back and not start to take things personally, because arguments will happen when people start to go into their own worlds and start defending their positions and their opinions.
Which is a great segue to your last one, which is, I have to be right. Or as my favourite saying is, I'm not often wrong, and this time I am right. But people are watching, I think we say, and people say, oh, why do you keep saying it? Because it's really, really important. I like people to share the videos with other people you know, because you don't know what's actually going on in their world. Because people are quite resistant to sharing problems with close friends and families, and you may not realise, so just sharing them and let them make the decision whether this is something they'd like to be watching.
Absolutely. Look, I don't know about you, but I don't see many people have perfect relationships. In my world, very, very few people, in fact, anyone who comes to me, no one has ever learnt about relationships. They might be dealing with symptoms, they might be dealing with depression or addictions and anger and whatever.
Yeah.
But what they don't do is take a step back and actually learn a structure to have a good relationship. So please share this, because just about everybody out there who's in a relationship will be having some challenges. And as time goes by, if those challenges don't get addressed, they can escalate. And then you can have two people who start out loving each other, end up in divorce court. So please share, please subscribe, and we look forward to our fifth and final video, which
I have to be right.
I have to be right.